So our next speaker is ready to go. Markand is a second-generation philatelic professional and has completed specialized studies on the 1 Ana watermark paper used for the 2 Ana lithos, the 1929 airmail stamps of India, Stephen Smith rocket mails, and other topics. A regular exhibitor in stamp shows across the world, his high-quality exhibits are a treat to watch. You can view his large gold medal winning rocket mail exhibit on the amsipex website. A philatelic evangelist, he is the India representative of the Royal Philatelic Society, London. He's been the driving force in getting India as a theme country for Monaco Phil 2022 and is serving as commissioner for the upcoming Europhilex 2025. Elected as a fellow of the RPCL and awarded Ambassador of the Year by the PTS, Markand has published several articles in the London Philatelist and other publications, as well as organized national philatelic seminars in 2017 and 2018. He's presently researching Indian rocket mails and publishing a book on this shortly. So over to Markand to hear more about Indian rocket mails.
So hello everybody, and now it's my turn as a part of the team, and I'm going to talk on this subject of the rocket mails of India. Stephen Smith conducted the experiments from 1934 to 44, and the first 4 years from 34 to 38 was quite easy for him. And later on, it got very complicated because of the Second World War effect. And the number of flown covers suddenly dropped down like anything. So here is my first slide. What you are going to see this, today in this presentation, the effect of the World War II, how he carried the experiments, his challenges, the aerial photography with the rocket, what he tried, the experiment, and changing technology with the gas propelled projectile and the compressed air projectile. And then the first time we are going to discuss about the another one flown missiles of the rocket named Hornet and the Black and Tan. Stephen Smith with one of his early mail rocket. So all those who are saying that it was a fireworks rocket and Diwali rocket or whatever, it was not, which you can see here. It's quite a big thing. And he used to carry the mails in this type of rocket. At Royal, we say about the philately, which is to promote, encourage, and contribute the advancement of the science practice of philately. And this man has the both thing, the art and science of philately. And this month, February, he is his birth of month, which is, you can see here, 14 February, and he sadly passed away on 15 February in 1951. And to pay a tribute, I have used the AI technology to color his picture here. And we can see the way he is holding the rocket and posing. And the present era, Mr. Elon Musk with one of his SpaceX replica. So they both are pioneers in the rocket engineering, and we had Elon Musk type of personality called Stephen Smith all the way back in 1930s. Now, these all are the labels from 1934 to 1938, what Stephen has used to place on his rocket mail experiments. And suddenly everything got changed because of the Second World War. And then how he managed and how he prepared all his rocket mail items. That is the main attraction of my presentation. And usually you will find these labels cancelled when they are affixed on the covers. It's cancelled from Calcutta, Park Street, or Calcutta GPO, or sometime when he carried the experiments in Sikkim, you will find the Gangtok post office cancellation. And before we get into this main subject and start enjoying the fun, we have to pay a serious attention to this note, what Stephen has wrote in his book, in his rocket mail catalog. Experiments carried out from September 19th, 1939 to September 26, 1941 in connection with this war rocket experiments. He used to call it war rockets. No complete list of all firings can be published for obvious reason, and that obvious reason because the World War II and the explosives were prohibited. And he's saying that many of the firings were carried out without any souvenirs, and this fact is regretted because when the history of this experiment comes to be written, no tangible proof will be available. The almost similar thing has been repeated by Jal Cooper when he published his rocket wheels catalog for Stephen Smith in 1960. So we have seen the number of labels, and this is the last labels prepared by Smith of the rocket number 207 and 208. The first one he called Liar and the second Grognigine. What does that mean? Let's see in the next slides. And before we go to that slide, I want to clarify that he started using this stationery, what he prepared. It's a pre-printed rocket missive he started using from the December 1938 when he carried the Martha Paganini experiment. And then onwards, he didn't have an opportunity to prepare any labels or any special covers or anything like that. So he survived with this. So majority of the war rockets you will find on this stationery, which also has the Titagore elephant watermark. Now, these are the two covers of the labels what we have seen. And when carefully looking at the one of the important page of Lady Ezra, okay, wife of David Ezra, they were good friends and they were members of the Indian Airmail Society and very close to Smith. Lady Ezra indicated that the liar is an anagram of Adolf Hitler and the Grognigine is an anagram of General Goring. These both guys were shouting too much. We all know that during the Second World War. And for that reason, Smith has expressed his political views or whatever you call on this. And General Goring was executed by the Nuremberg trials and he was ordered to hang. Just one day before his order is going to be executed, he committed suicide. And we all know about Hitler that he also committed the suicide at a bunker in Berlin when he was caught by the Red Army. In the inside picture, we have the detention card of General Goring. In the reverse of these missives, he started expressing his pain or whatever because this guy has a huge energy, great energy of work. He was a workaholic man and suddenly he got restricted. So he started using his pen and he started writing small philosophies and which we will see in further missives as well. This is the only known example of the War Rocket 207, the label printed double. And the next one is 208, again with the label printed double. So 208 and 228. Now the next one is 228. So he would have carried another 20 experiments without any mails, or if those had any mails, they are not available, as Stephen Smith has already admitted that thing. And this missives usually find with the blue number of the rocket and black as well, 228. And because of the developments, the political developments and the war developments, he again expressed his views here. And he is writing, the Bordeaux's government have today placed the life and liberty of France into the custody of her enemies. 25th June 1940, and he was, he literally avoided going to the post office and all that because everybody was watching him and his activities. So he avoided going to post office quite frequent. So now the next experiment, you won't see any postmark. This missive is without postmark, and this is a photograph of the missive. The original is not seen by anyone so far. And this was an attempt to capture the picture from the rocket using the small Brownie camera he applied, he fitted in the machine, and that's what he tried. In his record card, what I have, he says that he used a yellow bolide label, so I have placed it next to it, and red label. So this were the Gerhard Zucker's label prepared for an experiment in Great Britain. And he carried two experiments, number 230, which is here, and then the next one was 231, which is here. And they both are only one flown missile, but nobody has seen it so far. And in his record card, he says that this is with the blue label. So I'm just trying to give you a colorful illustration, imagination that if it survives, then how it would look like. And again, there is no postmark on this. I have this beautiful piece of the original negatives. He might have captured this two missiles picture because they have been pictured in one of the Del Cooper's catalog. So that's how it is being survived, and he photographed these two missiles. So you can understand that how important these two missiles were for him. And the whole idea, if we are talking about the drone photography nowadays, just connect it with Smith's vision, okay, all the way back in 1940s, 85 years ago. He had that sort of vision to capture the picture from the sky. The next one we are going to see is, again, you will now see the Rocketgram Indian Airways stationery, what he prepared. He altered his address from 14th to 25th, and he used a trim version of the Gerhard Zucker's label. And now you can see here how it has been trimmed like that. And this is one of the very rare, only 4 flown rocket tail. The next one is again only 4 flown, and again using Gerhard Zucker's label, the green one. And I have observed the usage of this green label in one of the rocket mail or souvenir, souvenir from the 1936 International Philatelic Exhibition in USA. These are 10 flown items, and this is the parachute experiment. He is using Gerhard Zucker's orange label with a parachute image, which Gerhard Zucker had prepared to carry an experiment in Switzerland. Unfortunately, he could not carry, but somehow these all rocket mail experimenters were friends with each other, and Zucker would have sent it to Smith, and Smith has rightly used it here in absence, and because of his inability to produce any further labels. And this one is again 10 flown with the blue label of Gerhard Zucker. Now, as we discussed, in 40s, he was not able to go to the post office. Now, this time, he went to post office. And this 7 flown item, one of the 7 flown item, this is the second item. And he used a calendar cutout to number the rocket. This large 2, what you are seeing here, this one, is actually a calendar cutout. So just imagine this situation, that how he is managing himself to prepare the rocket mail items in these days. So this is his first visit to the Fort William post office, and you can see this is one of the old 1942 calendar. And this is the second time he visited the Fort William post office again, and this time he is using Gerhard Zucker's label, Aero Torpedo, but he cleaned it. Okay, and this is the first usage out of his entire 10-year experiments. First time he is using British India postal stationery. It's a postal stationery of King George VI, 1 and 3 pies. And now let's look on the map where Smith is living, where is Park Street Post Office, and where is Fort William, where he went to this time. So Park Street Post Office was very close to his residence, 25 Elliot Road. He can easily walk and go there. And he would have thought it that because he's being watched, he walked a little further down and went all the way to Fort William Post Office. Now, the most interesting and difficult one, one of the only two known, again, he is using Gerhard Zucker's blue label, surviving with 2 rubber stamps. And this label was prepared by Gerhard Zucker to carry some of the experiment in Trieste. These are the only 2 flown. One you are seeing on the screen, and here is the second one. And Smith was not able to obtain any postmark for this particular 2 items, and these are not illustrated in majority of the books or catalogs. And this is the amsipex special that the 2 known, and both are being displayed on the screen. Now he's changing the post office again. On this occasion, he went to the Park Street Post Office after 1.5 years. So this is the Rocketgram Indian Airways, same stationery. Then he printed it further with the big V of the missing link and blah, blah, blah. So, and he named this rocket after Willow Cooper, who is the daughter of Jal Cooper, a Bombay-based stamping. I'm sure everybody knows Jal Cooper. And this, with the big V, these are only 8 flown. The rocket number 263 and rocket name Willow Cooper. Now this slide will tell you the story that he put 2 satires on it. He's asking for Mussolini. Where is he? Because 15 September 1941, Mussolini formed the Republican Fascist Party. And he's asking General Webber for the absence ones because he was involved in the activities in East Africa. So just to relax him. So he was really a cool guy, and he expressed his views like that, and which you can see. Now this slide is intentionally blank, and the reason is because the next item I'm going to show is almost similar, but they are 35 flown. Okay, and the name of the rocket is Joan M. Binz, and it is rocket number 264. Joan Binz is one of the family member of Angus Binz, who was a Delhi-based stamp dealer. These are 35 flown items, so don't confuse yourself. And it comes with a small variety with a letter L missing. Instead of Stilly, it says Stilly with a single L. And so far, only 5 known. Change in technology. Now, he has started using the gas propelled experiment, and that's why he has named the rocket GP number 1. He's using a Go Lightly label with an overprint on it for the bloodthirsty Jeppy to make him very happy. Again, using a calendar cutout, which you can see next to the Rocketgram Indian Airways and next to this rubber stamp, his personalized rubber stamp. And this Go Lightly label has a small error. It has a missing C variety in the spelling of rocket. Go Lightly was an Englishman who applied for the patent of steam-powered rocket in 1841, and for that reason, he popped up in the label. On the reverse of this missive is an interesting story. So, we all carry our childhood memory. That's how Smith also carried his childhood memory, which he has said on this missive. He's saying that in 1898, 46 years ago, when this experiment has been carried, and when he was 7-year-old, remember blowing up the ant nests with this same gas. Obviously, it's kerosene in Strawberry Hill, Ceylon. So, how interesting things are going. And he used to share his notes like this during the Second World War on some of the missives. Now this one, we see suddenly it's a rocket mill thing and Gerhard Zucker and all these things going on. And how come that red thing came up in the picture? It's something serious. It's in connection of the Bengal famine period. That was a very, very bad time for Bengal. Second World War. Okay, they were close to Burma. There was Japanese influence, and here there was famine going on. Many people died. Huge number of people died. And Smith expressed his kindness and created this souvenir. Only 15 were carried, and this coupon was issued by the controller of Wrestling Civil Supplies Bengal. Smith named this experiment named the rocket as the GPP-2 because it's the second gas-propelled experiment. And now again, changing technology. This is the first compressed air projectile. And Smith has named this rocket CAP number 1. Again, using a calendar cutout. So you can see how he is managing himself. Only 28 missiles flown. And on reverse of this missile is interesting. Then you would start considering Smith as an astrologer as well. 10 months before the attacks of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay? He's writing this projectile went off with a poke. It was just a case of popping the question to the Japanese. Hands up or die. The second experiment with the same technology, compressed air projectile, and he named it CAP number 2. Usage of a calendar cutout and a yellow label of Gerhard Zucker. Only 19 missiles were carried. Only 2 out of those 19 have been recorded so far with a purple label as well. And this is the 20th one, but not flown missile of that experiment. He would have created it, but for some reason, maybe the rocket didn't have enough space, or for some reason, he marked it not flown copy, and he created a record card. And this is the record card where he admitted that 20 missiles were prepared and 19 were flown. 1 remained unflown. And this is in his original handwriting. Now, the third gas projectile, usage of a calendar cutout, he created a bigger version of a rubber stamp, which you can see on the right side, where he is writing Imphal. He named the rocket Imphal. Because the Japanese attacked the British, and the British Indian forces at Imphal, the capital of Manipur nowadays, and the Japanese were defeated as their food supply chain was very weak. On reverse, the same like with what we have seen earlier, this is the 12th not flown copy of the Imphal. And this is the record card of that not flown copy. And these are the 2 last war rocket experiments, one stamped with Kohima and another one with Dimaku. He planned to conduct these experiments and prepared the rubber stamps, in which you can read here, April and May 1944. And he applied for the permission to the British military officials. Some situations would have been developed, and then there was a system that you can apply for the permission and you can get something. So he applied for it. But the permission was not granted within time, and he carried out these 2 experiments at Calcutta, according to his record card, because he has recorded in his record card that he carried at Calcutta. So it's still in question whether they have been carried at Kohima, Dimapur, or at Calcutta. And now we are going to discuss the last point of my presentation, where I say that Hornet and Black and Tan, 2 rocket mills, only 1 flown item. And here Smith is writing on this rocketgram Indian Airways stationery, what he prepared all the way back in 38. He is writing the missive carried by the Hornet was destroyed by me sometime in February 1945. And the same thing he is writing about the Black and Tan. Okay. He created a record card for both of these missives as well. And these are the two photocopies of the record cards. I'm sure you are struggling to read this, so for your ease, you can see here. On this occasion, he used the dry fuel and gas as a combination. To launch the rocket, he used the gas, and for the flight, the dry fuel. 265 is the Hornet, and 266 is the Black and Tan. Underneath of the note, he is writing that under the Defense of India rules, the use of explosives has been prohibited. Hence, the older order changed to the new. How sad that we can't see these missives, but we have these notes. Now, these two handwritten notes of Stephen Smith for 265 and 266. I am of opinion that Smith would have destroyed the only one carried missives of 230 and 231. Because no one has seen, it has not been displayed so far or appeared anywhere. But I would humbly admit that we can't comment anything in absence of a strong evidence. And the 230 and 231, which we have seen 10-15 minutes ago, I must guess, and these are the two where he tried to capture the picture using the rocket by putting a camera in it. That's what you have seen today in my presentation, and I'm needing to end my talk now. I'm writing a book, as Mr. Ketal has kindly announced in my introduction. It is coming this summer. The writing work is almost done. It is sitting with a graphic guy for editing, etc. It will take some time. Now, this is for those who will be watching this recording later on, okay? And you have questions. So you don't need to struggle. You can point your camera on any of the QR code. I am on X, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow me and ask me questions. Those who are watching live today can ask me a question here straight away. Thank you very much indeed. And that's the end of my story. Adam Cook wants to ask a question. He has raised the hand. Hello, Adam. You need to unmute yourself because we can't hear you.
Well, I have to say it's a remarkable presentation. I've enjoyed it so much. It's quite extraordinary, the analogy you made between Stephen Smith and Elon Musk, because, I mean, you're the first man in the world to have spotted this. And
Thank you.
And I'm sure that people will be talking about that after the Congress is finished today. That was absolutely extraordinary. I think I was certainly very pleased to get all the new wonderful colour on Stephen Smith, and there's a lot of information that you've shared with us all today, which is very exciting. A small thing. What can you tell me about the Titagur elephant watermark paper? Because is this a particular facet of, is the Titagur elephant like an Indian emblem, or what was the story there?
The Titagur watermark paper, we have observed the usage of the Titagur watermark paper in Indian postal stationery. I'm sure there are some postal stationery experts like Pratisad is here. And if it is a more detailed question regarding the watermark, he will be the best person to answer. But what I have observed for first time, which is not recorded anywhere, and this has been used all the way from 1939 to 1944 for 5 years. And majority of the missives, whatever he prepared, every single piece bears this Titagur elephant watermark. And there is a big elephant with a up trunk in it and horizontal lines, etc. I was actually, it took nearly 15 days to prepare this presentation, and I'm extremely sorry, I admit that I was not able to reproduce the reproduction of the watermark. I tried, but I'm sure
it's fascinating, and There are so many features that excite me about this presentation, but this was just one thing that I just thought: is it like the mango? Is it a particular Indian emblem, the Titsker elephant?
Yeah, Indians are very well aware with the Chittagong elephant watermark. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. Any more questions, please?
Adam, it's my understanding that Titagar is the name of the paper mill,
Paper mill, yeah.
which is still existing today. So it was Titagar paper. So there's no such, it's not like there's an elephant called the Titagar elephant. It's paper made by the Titagar paper mill, which carried the watermark of an Indian elephant.
Yeah, but nowadays we are used to call it a Chittagong watermark, so I just called it like that. But thank you. Thanks, PK.
I noticed that Walter has raised his hand.
Sorry?
We do like to have a sense of humor and ask these questions.
Of course.
Hello, how are you, sir?
David, thank you very much for the amazing presentation. I enjoyed it very much, and it was also I researched everything connected with Stephen Smith when I wrote the book. You gave me some information I was not aware of, and it is a very good research work you did.
Walter, when it comes from you, it matters a lot for me. Thank you very much indeed. It's with all your blessings and the friendship we have.
Markand, I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
Well, the last thing you presented was, I think, the 1944-45 rocket experiments of Stephen Smith. Even from I collect airmails. So even from an aerophilately standpoint, you have all those wartime covers, the V covers, etc. But what happened to Stephen Smith after that? He just seems to have faded away, though I know he lived on for several years. So what made him move away from philately and, rocket mail, airmail, and what did he do? Okay, what is his after story?
After story, after Dimapur and Kohima, we hardly see that he was active. All we know that he was a chain smoker, and he died at the age of 60, right? Maybe his health was not good or something like that. That's what I'm also curious about it, and what happened and why he stopped. But he stopped in, we would say, 44, 45. One of the mischief of this Kohima and Dimapur he used when India became independent. Okay, he prepared 47 of those. So that's what his last activity was observed. And after that, no further information, unfortunately.
I remember reading somewhere that he lived on in Calcutta, but nothing really, I don't see any philatelic evidence of his activities after these covers.
Yeah, no philatelic activities are covered, no. One guy who wrote the book on Stephen Smith, his name is Gurveer Singh, and he's a very dear friend of mine. There you go. So he went to Calcutta and interviewed some of the people, his Stephen Smith's neighbors or something on Elliot Road. But after looking at everything and reading at everything, what happened suddenly after 44, 45, as you rightly said, is not in light so far.
Thank you.
David? Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Markand, what a wonderful presentation. I mean, the scholarship and the rarity of the material that you have is just, it's tremendous. I'm struck not just of what he's contributed to rocket mail, but are you aware of anybody in philately that has had such an outsized influence on both aerophilately and astrophilately? I mean, people that collect Aero are very much Stephen Smith people and Astro people, and I don't really know of anybody who bridges that divide. I mean, people like Zucker or Schmiedel or whoever, they're not necessarily stamp collectors, and they certainly don't really have anything to do with airmail. And yet Stephen Smith is the giant in both of those categories.
Yeah. So the labels, the airmail came in 1911, and he was actively involved preparing all the airmail covers. But most of the labels what he prepared, if you see in early days for airmails, are not that attractive what he started creating for the rocket mill. So he was absolutely, you rightly said that he was an airmail guy. But when it came to rocket mill, I mean, he put his entire energy to prepare different colorful labels, missiles, and so on items. If you go through my book, you will see lots of things. He prepared souvenirs of the flown birds, which was the first livestock experiment, the feathers, he plucked out the feathers and put it on a card. So he put his entire energy, that's what I can say. And I have a number of letters, what he wrote to Max Kronsteen and different Aero and Astrophilatelics like Robert Paganini in Switzerland, or or other leading people. And that's how he has an active connection, with all these people. And many of them, like Robert Paganini, was sending him a good amount of money. He was one of his financiers, like David Ezra. And this guy was carrying all these activities. So I think because of that good financial support, all the color came in the picture. And that's how the rocket mill labels and rocket mills are so vibrant compared to the air mills. But I love them all the way from the beginning, 2006, when I started Philately 20 years ago. Rocket mill.
Well, congratulations. It's a wonderful job.
Thank you. Walter, you have raised the hand again?
Yes, I just want a short comment for David. Friedrich Schmiedl was a big Aero-Philately collector.
Okay.
And one thing he wanted to get Zeppelin covers without paying the Zeppelin fees. and I think he tried it 100 times, something like that. And there was also a big, a vast correspondence between Stephen Smith and Friedrich Schmiedl.
Yeah. Can we end the question answer session, because we are running a little bit late, and our next speaker is in the queue?
Markand, we have good time. The next speaker is not due to start until another 14 minutes. So
Okay,
we can go on if you like.
You were telling me yesterday when I was doing the recce with you, right, that will you be able to complete this 46 slides? And I said, I will do it.
We've kept the 20-minute buffer. We knew that you like to take a little longer. So we're good with you. But just a quick comment to David's point. Stephen Smith, we all aerophilatelists, airmail collectors, rocket mail collectors in India, we owe a great debt of gratitude to Stephen Smith. You see, he started this Airmail Society of India. It was first the Aerophilatelic Society of India, but then there was another Aerophilatelic Society of Calcutta that got formed. To avoid confusion, he renamed it the Airmail Society of India. They published a monthly bulletin, and Stephen Smith himself, the entire contemporaneous history of Indian airmail, right from the 1920s all the way until the start of World War II, is recorded by Stephen Smith. And everything that we read after that, the work that Jeffrey Brown has done, the work that so many other people have done, is all largely based on the contemporaneous recordings of Stephen Smith, the flights, the routes, the pilots, the quantity of mail flown, the caches. He did a phenomenal job. And he was not just focused on rocket mail or air mail, the entire pigeon mail, which again, Stephen Smith's pigeon mail records are phenomenal. Balloon mail. In fact, in the recent Argyll Atkin auction, I was fortunate to get his manuscript for a book he was writing on balloon mail, the history of balloon mail in India and stuff like that. I mean, this guy was crazy. Somebody has described him as, I think, all-round busybody of Indian philately. He's an amazing guy, absolutely.
Yeah, that's how I started my introduction to Stephen Smith, that when it comes to philately, we call it art and science of stamp collection. And he had art and he had science, both of the things. And he was a philatelist. What else do you need? And he was Aero and Astro. He was active in both ways, So great person. And when I started reading his correspondence with Dr. Paganini and Max Constant and all his letters, etc., the more and more you read him, I mean, he was such a diverse personality, versatile character. And just imagine in those days how he traveled to Singtam and Rungpo and all this. The roads are still not in that great condition even today. And he carried all these experiments. So not only Sikkim, even the Jamboree chapter, we can hold a talk on the Scout Jamboree chapter. That is again a very, very interesting story when they had the post office on site and they flew whatever came in the way, like the Scout leaflets and messages in his propaganda rockets, etc.
Okay, so maybe what we could do is we have a short message from our sponsors. We could play that and then we could get on to the next talk.